a very special thank you to everybody who tunes in to the Justin Podcast. And I also want to give a special thanks to all my sponsors.
He's a pioneer and the voice for XTV East Coast. He's the XTV Hall of Famer. And now, Justin Turkey Legs brings his famous voice to the podcast world. This is Justin's Podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Justin's Podcast. I'm your host, Ernest Justin Turkey Leg, and it is a good time on a beautiful Thursday here. This is where I'm recording this. Today's date is 6/16/16, and earlier this morning, I'm riding along in my truck, and this guy mentioned that he was like, cause he's writing the date down on the paper, and he's like 6/16/16. Huh. He said that's a strange date or something like that. I guess he was somewhat a little bit intrigued. Be that as it may, that is the day that it is, and. Just before I started recording here, Martha said, in your last recording, because she the one that mixed all of this stuff, and she said, yeah, in your last recording, you can hear the crackling from the weed bag, and you can hear crackling inside the, I think it's starting to rain outside, so you can hear the crackling from when you opening up the blunts. So she didn't want that up in there, and so she suggested that I started to just roll up the weed, before I started recording, and push come to shove, I'm sitting up here, we up here talking and shit, and I got a guest, a very special guest that's on his way here. And she was like, man, it's 6:30, man. We need to get along with this. So, basically she wanted me to speed up the process. So I'm still rolling the blunt as we speak. And I just went on and hit the record button. And we up and rolling. Yeah. I get sidetracked. What can I say? Go ahead and get to what's on my mind this week. I just want to start out by saying, 2016 has been a very, very crazy year in deaths, and it's been so many that I'm not going to even I'm not going to even name names. I ain't going to even do it. Y'all know who we lost so far in 2016. Some very, very important people. Very special people who touched our hearts, and I just want to say, to just, hey man, wherever you at, and whatever you going through, just be happy, man. Just choose to cause If you knew like that you ain't have much time to live, you'll treat people different. You didn't. If you realize, if you didn't take your life for granted. I ain't saying that you take your life for granted, but sometimes we do as people, man. Sometimes we just don't really know what we have until it's gone. But my condolences go out to all of those people who lost family members in 2016, friends and family, other people, close people, and things like that. And, I just want to encourage everybody to just love everybody, man, because you never know. I'll tell you what, I love you, Martha. I didn't want to, get into the. I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way, because it's it's real sensitive, it's dark, and I like to keep things fun over here. That's not really my type of thing to, take it there, but it's just getting out of hand. It's going overboard, so I had to touch on it, because one person that passed away, and I didn't get to touch on that person, And so I was just like, all right, well. And then more people kept on passing away, and I'm like, well, dang. So I gotta say stuff. I had to say that. Just say that part. I could say so much more, but I'm gonna get along with it, like I said, for the reasons that I said. Mind you, I'm still rolling this blunt up. You know, apparently I can't talk and roll. I know some people who do that exceptionally well and roll even better blunts than what I roll. Another thing that's on my mind, this just, you know, everybody know that I'm a big fan of the Jim Ross podcast, and what I'm really a fan of is, his impersonations, and he always do this Jim Barnett impersonation, and he just always he'll just bust out of nowhere. He just be talking and be like, my boy, say my boy, do you think that this match is going to be any good tonight? Or something along those lines. But he'll just bust into it. It's crazy. And I like when he do that. But one night I was having this real hard time sleeping, and I couldn't get that out of my head, like, all night. Like, that shit just kept on ringing in my head. I just had a nightmare about JR going, my boy, my boy. It just kept popping in my head. I just wanted to get that off my chest. What else I got? So much more. I know I had something to say. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the J Baby podcast. I had this intro. Maybe it wasn't meant, but it got lost. And I think I talked about it on another podcast. I was saying that, I was talking about this long rant that I went into, and well, the rant got erased, but we was able to upload the pain shoot, which I hope you all enjoyed. So, we lost one and we gained one, because Pain, that was one that, I had done like a while ago and I couldn't get it uploaded. So I'm happy to have that uploaded. That was a very important one. And it's even more. Got Tony B, and I got other stuff in the archives. Also, speaking of shows in the archives, that's soon to come. Old Joe has uploaded his I think it's called the Joe podcast or something like that. I don't know if he do it with Miss Joe. I had said once before in another podcast that Miss Joe is alive, and she was ever so alive on this podcast show, which I really enjoyed. Ojo was such a legend, and I definitely want to have him back on this show. I know y'all probably ain't seen it yet because it ain't out yet, but I spoke with him once before, and I want to speak with him again because he touched on a whole lot of topics that I found very intriguing, and Ojo, what's unique about him is that he's not. He's so legendary and historical. He got so much history and depth to him, but he's not like the first guy. He's not the first XTV West guy. It's actually 90. Another person who I had an interview with. Oh yeah, man, I've been getting them in. I've been getting them in. So yeah. So I think that's pretty cool about 90. I mean about Old Joe. I had some thoughts about the podcast. I noticed that 3 times Old Joe had called, and this ain't to stir up nothing, but I'm just saying for the record that 3 times Old Joe had called Miss Joe baby in front of Mary May, which it's just like kind of kind of weird to me. And Mary May ain't say nothing, but I guess they got some old sweet, nice relationship. And it's all copacetic like that. I'm not peeing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pouring myself some water out of this Nestle Pure Life container. Yeah. But also I think that it's cool that he talked about his kids, and it wasn't until that he mentioned that that it dawned on me. It's like, yeah, Trunks and Payne not his kids, they his grandkids. So he talked about his son, and how he had Trunks and Payne. I think he had a son and a daughter. I know he said that his son was a drug dealer, and I think that Joe always he always talk about working at the steel mill company, and he had lost his job there at the steel mill company, and that's when he had his kids, and he went on to talk about how his son was a drug dealer, and he got gunned down over a drug deal. Just a lot of fascinating stuff. Even the way. Oh my God, I just seen 11/11. I've been seeing 11/11 all day. But anyways, Mary May knew Miss Joe, and Joe, a long time. They go way back. So that's kind of crazy, and then, they also talked about Miss Joe, being Payne and Dixie's teacher, and it's just a lot of fascinating stuff, I like to talk to Miss Joe about these topics and things like that, because I remember, back in the days, I'll be down in my room, and you can hear something going on, like maybe it was the show, but XTV West always had something going on, and it mostly involved the Payne. I always heard him and Trunks. They was just always going back and forth, and you hear that a lot in these shoots, and yeah, like that's just really how things happen, and I used to always hear it, down the hall, and it was just the norm, you know. That was crazy. I found it very compelling. Old Joe's thoughts about, what his father's advice was to him, saying to give back to your family, and you never know when you might need somebody. I found that compelling. I was very moved by that. Like I said, man, Old Joe, he's a class act. Well, I don't know how classy he is, but you know what I'm trying to say. He top notch, man. He's a hell of a character. So much content in his podcast, which I'm looking forward to the part 2 of it. I wonder if they're gonna go more in depth about these different topics. Dixie being suicidal, and then even Miss Joe, talking about giving some guy, well, having sex with him. I must say that I was very grossed out listening to this, and then if you notice, when you click on the video, which is on XTV West Side, when you click on the video, it's a picture of Old Joe standing next to Miss Joe, and she kind of hunched over reading a book, and she just old, and nobody want to hear you talk about sex. With all due respect, but she's shooting, so what can you say? I sat with a couple of guys. I wasn't by myself when I was watching this. I sat with with Romy and members of his family, and let me just say that Soup's got a call, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, two gorillas. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you a moment right now to just call two gorillas. All right.
I I found that the Old Joe podcast was very insightful, and Old Joe worked with Alberto Sammartino in the steel mill business, and it was quite successful.
Oh, you know about Old Joe in the steel mill business, Sparky?
Really, you see, you got nice ass.
Get your paws off me, Sparky. That lying son of a bitch. I had held his back the whole damn time when we were the tag team champions. That egg sucking dog. Old Joe, you're a lying sack shaking son of a bitch. Easy, Dingo. Yeah. You'll get your chance to talk to Old Joe when he come back on my podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even tell y'all who the special guest is today. Duke Nukem, a good friend from way back in 1997. You know how those conversations go. And it's going to be a good time. I'll be right back with you and with Duke Nukem, who should be here by now. So a couple of bills to be paid, and I'll be right with you. Nestle Pure Life is where it's at. I know what you're thinking. Justin, you was just not promoting Zephyr Hills in your other promo. Well, guess what? Today I brought Nestle Pure Life because it's 10 cents cheaper in the convenience store. Nestle Pure Life is some of the best tasting water that I ever had. Zephyr Hills, it got like a little tainty taste, but this tastes like real water from the spring, and that's why I'm drinking it, because it's hot as hell outside. The other day I got inside my car, and it was 103 degrees. So you know what I did? I froze me some Nestle Pure Life, and it saved my life. It feels like pure life. As they say over in Costa Rica, pure de vida, which means pure life. Drink it. I'm sitting here with Duke Nukem, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm in the middle of cooking some hamburgers for us both. But we started out yesterday, and we was recording this bit. And, I got high as hell from that joint that I was rolling up, that I was talking about at the top of the podcast. That shit put me on my ass, and by the time Duke had got here, I hadn't went to sleep. So, no, that ain't what happened. No, we started recording already, and you just were like fucking up over your words, and you were saying, I haven't had my maca, and you just I started to fall asleep. But, we back here another day. Same old Justin, man. But I didn't know that, you had started smoking weed. Oh, yeah, we big on this. So we got the man back here, ladies and gentlemen, Duke Nukem, and you started here, in 1997. That's when you blew up. But where did you get how did you really start out? Tell us a little bit about your background. Well, I was born April 9th, 1967, and I first sort of got my break as a talent, in the early 90s, and there was this computer company who created this character by the name of Duke Nukem, which is me, and what they wanted was someone who could sort of be like an action hero, because that's what the 90s was all about. It was about that action hero style. And, they created this, and I was this badass. And the first ever thing I said, my first ever quote was, I'll be done with you and still have time to watch Oprah. Because, Oprah was real big then. Oh, yeah, Oprah was huge. Came on 4 o'clock every day on Channel 13. That's a tat right there. Yeah, so, and I really did watch Oprah. So, yeah, I just had my sort of cheesy one-liners, and, they would throw them in there, and I would fight off alien bad guys. They just put me in a real fucked up situation when you think of it. I mean, you know, here I am, set to defend, Earthrealm from these alien invaders, and but I was in this situation, and I took care of it. I had my fucking big guns that they gave me, RPGs, the whole fucking shebang. It was great for me, so I wasn't complaining too much. Yeah, you was the first of your kind, and 1993 was a peculiar year, as in terms of XTV, it's like a mystery year. I mean, because that's during the Teleferro days, and back in Teleferro, we didn't have like TV shows. I say that loosely because I kind of wonder if Yaki had a show like in 1991, because I remember the Sonic game being real good, and it kind of, I know that was the first show, but I just wonder if it started even before 1994. I think it was around for a little while, and then he did his thing with Tails, and then it had faded away. It just had stopped because maybe wrestling took over or something else took over, and then it went back to Sonic and Tails, and we realized how good it was again. But I wondered, how things would be if you was around during those days. It was as different as I was. I'm not so sure if I was going to fit in, but then at the same time, 1997 came around, and I think I just came in at the perfect time, and I was like, damn, those alien bastards are going to pay for shooting up my ride. But on Nintendo 64, which is when I originally came, I said, damn, those alien scum are going to pay for shooting up my ride. Which was the better show, on N64. To me, I thought that the 64 one was better. Yeah, that's where I first got my start. And, at the time, James was really, starting to kind of take off on that side in 1997. And there was really no room for me. So AVW kind of picked me up and decided, hey, I'm going to use this guy. And, he's going to become, one of the guys. So I got teamed up with Alec, who was, pretty damn white hot on the East Coast at the time, and they teamed us together, and he sort of kind of took over that show, and he became the main guy. It was like it wasn't about me, but I was more like just the guy with the one-liners, while he was kind of going around and being a jerk off and screwing around with the different aliens and getting shot, because it's like it went from me being the defender of the Earth realm to him being the defender, because he wanted to be the front guy. So I said, fuck, shit, if all I got to do is just stand back and talk shit, I'm completely fine with that, and so that's what he did, and I'd be just, off at the damn Duke Burger somewhere, just hanging out, he would have he would get the Hollow Duke, and that's when I would come in and be like, you need help, Alec? And he'd say, yeah, keep these aliens occupied. And, the aliens never used to bother with me, because they couldn't touch me. I was kind of in invisible mode. That's what the Hollow Duke was, and Alec was the guy in first person. So, that was a pretty cool deal. And, he had his wife there. His wife played as a prostitute. Sally was a real whore back then. Oh my God, it's true, man. She was like a real slut. It's just, as far as like how she dressed. I mean, when you go back and take a look at how she came in, with her gear, and take a look at the character that she actually came from, do some research on that, you see that she had a kind of slutty outfit, and she was supposed to come across as having a lot of sex appeal, which she did, and she was one of my babes, and she would be out on the corner, doing work, and Alec would be, just going on this long rant, on her, going back and forth with Sally, talking to her on the phone, meeting with her in random places on the street. She would just be at all these different random places, even in the strip club, where you could actually tip her and be like, "You want to dance? Shake it, baby." And Alec didn't really appreciate that. He would always tell her to keep her clothes on or something like that. And the whole time, we always wanted to be like the West Coast when they did 007, with GoldenEye. And we used to watch 007 show, and James would always be telling Brandy to stay put. And, Sally would be standing there, on the street corner, sort of, just, hooking or whatever, trying to catch a trick. And but she would just be standing there, and on James's show, the girl actually followed him around and was a part of the gimmick. So that's what made his show dynamic, and we admired that. And that was just like the East Coast was the PlayStation side, and the West Coast was the Nintendo 64 side, just to put things in perspective. So when you look at it, it's like everything on the East Coast in the early days was really trying to be like everything on the West Coast in terms of TV shows. When you had Abu the Monkey Show, who, was still trying to compete with the Donkey Kong Show. If you could believe that. Oh no, he was trying to compete with the Super Mario Show. His show wanted to be like the Super Mario Show. MZ was afraid of butterflies, so Romy Rome would be afraid of dragonflies, which made a little bit more sense. Because why in the fuck would you be afraid of butterflies? Don't be a fucking pussy about it. But back to my point, it's just saying that everybody on the East Coast tried to do what the West Coast was doing. Sonic and Tails wanted to be like Dee Dee and Dixie. And me and Alec, did our shows, and we just really always wished that our show was more like 007 show. Sorry to cut you off, Duke, but they telling us that we got to take a break, and I got to go check on these hamburgers. So we'll be right back with more Duke Nukem. Y'all stay with me. Do you need a new mattress? Well, Saatva, Saatva, has got you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is America's best price luxury mattress. You should go on their website at saatvamattress.com to check out how you can get started in a 75-day home trial. That's right. For 75 days straight, they'll let you test out their mattress. And if you are not absolutely comfortable sleeping on this mattress, they will give you a money back guarantee. You can have the mattress for free and do whatever you want to it. That's right. Ain't no money back guarantee because you ain't paid for it in the first place. It's a 75-day home trial. You go to SAATVAmattress.com and you can check it out for yourself. If you're tired of the confusion and all the other mattress shops out there, you need to go out and try the ultra premium, eco-friendly Saatva, sold exclusively online for under $1,000. Join the thousands of happy Saatva owners. It's a pretty Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sitting here with a good friend, Duke Nukem, from back in the day. Hey, what's up? And Duke, we was just not talking about your early start here in XTV, your success with you and Alec. Talk a little bit more about the everyday ventures and adventures that y'all went through there, in Duke Nukem. Well, here I am, saving the fucking planet Earth. And then we have the network, who put me in this fucking situation, coming at me, telling me to tone it down because, I guess parents or whatever didn't like their kids seeing, what me and Alec were doing out there, which was tipping strippers and, all kinds of bloody guts and gore, but damn it, we're saving the fucking planet. Give me a damn break. I hear you. And then with all the cursing or whatever, and back in that time, hold on. Back in that time, AVW, he really gravitated towards those quotes that I was doing. He especially liked when I said, "It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum," and I'm all out of gum. Because it was kind of like, I'm starting over this different level, and I think I first got to that level on the West Coast or something like that. I don't, I think he was watching Tony B play that. I'm not really sure how it went, but I remember saying that, and it really gravitated. So, early in the morning, I think we were talking about this yesterday. Early in the morning, AVW would get on his bike and he'd, since it's the beginning of the day, he'd say, "Damn, those alien scum are going to pay for shooting up my ride," just to say it to start the day off, because he's starting a new level. And, he got, those quotes were embedded in his mind so much that, the stupidest, slightest shit would happen, and he'd say, "Holy shit," when a giant truck passed by or something like that, they might splash some water, or something like that. He might, purposely try to walk into a wall, just to go, things like that. So, I was really over with the kid AVW, and I appreciated that, even though I played such a small role in the TV show, because Alec was doing most of the talking, so I didn't have to, do too much. And what Alec did was incorporated, his family, which I thought was very admirable. I just sat back and enjoyed the ride and watched this guy, work his magic. I really admired Alec. He was my friend. And he brought in Nightcrawler. He was a part of the show. He made little appearances, and he was actually a surprise appearance. It's like, whoa, look, it's Nightcrawler. You're not expecting to see this guy. He's so rare. And but he was there, and then of course Hank would pop in every now and again, and Hank's got like this magical kind of thing to him where everything that he touches turns to gold. He's got the Midas touch. And, like I said, Sally was a whore, and, yeah, that was his family, and he always, incorporated them somehow. He might even have the dogs in there, maybe a time or two. I'm not sure. Duke Nukem takes a sip of this Mountain Dew and takes a puff of this blunt. It's I like Millennium's idea. I was talking to Millennium earlier, and I was just saying, his idea is it's always 420. I like that idea. Just smoke and smoke and smoke. It's 12:34. Yeah, it's 12:34, mind you. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's Duke Nukem 3D is a big deal. You and Alec doing y'all thing. Y'all going through the motions, and everybody couldn't see it. This was a global phenomenon, but it was very impactful, as you mentioned, and it even got banned in some places. Yeah, it got banned. It wasn't able to be played. Like this was just so taboo for the time. Everything's really pushing the envelope. You know what I mean? In wrestling, you had the NWO and it's type of rebellious kind of attitude. No pun intended. That was just coming from the mainstream. The music was becoming more raunchier, the women were becoming more burlesque, and we were just evolving with the times. The kids were growing up, and this is what they're into. So we got banned around the world, but that didn't stop the success of the show by any means. And me and Alec, we had the hardest time, just getting past like the I think it was the third level where we ended up trapped in jail, and we were going around, forever and ever, man. We ended up getting caught and put in jail. That was pretty fucked up. This is like right after we would be messing around in the movie theater, because that's where we first started out. I killed some aliens, then I would go inside that little door where the guy's asking for a movie ticket. Or sometimes, in that little spot, Alec would kind of bullshit around, and that's where you first experience that you get a jetpack. And at first he used to fuck around, and I'd say, hey man, you gotta be careful with that, because remember, I started out in 1993, kicking these alien scum's ass. So, with Alec being new to all this type of equipment, he thought it was cool, and he didn't realize that the damn jetpack has a battery life, and he would try to fly as high as he possibly could because he's happy to be able to fly. But I said, you're gonna, you got to be able to come down, because you can go as high as you want, but if you don't have enough fuel to come down with, you're gonna come down the hard way. And he learned the hard way plenty of times. It was so dynamic. It was such an interesting thing for that time, to be able to see that sort of point of view. I mean, we mentioned Yaki and Tails, and Didi and Kong, and how they kind of had the side scroll look, and then we mentioned MZ, and he had that kind of a 3D appeal, with that kind of third person angle, but Duke Nukem had this, Duke Nukem along with GoldenEye had this first person point of view. And what's cool about that is that, especially with Alec having a jetpack, you being able to like see like how high you can go up, and you really felt like you was in these different places. You was really in it. He was really a part of it. I look forward to talking to James, talking about those different levels that he did. I remember playing GoldenEye, and it was like, just those levels are just so memorable, to your point, when you're talking about the movie theater, and, had the lady, kind of, it was more or less a GIF image of a sort of a lady doing a little striptease, right? And you and Alec, can be back there in the film room where it's just aliens. Aliens have completely taken over. They everywhere. They in the restrooms. They up in the vents. They coming out of nowhere. Exactly. Shooting at you. Sometimes you're getting shot, and you're losing your power, and you don't know where the hell this damn thing's coming from. And, as it continued to progress, when Alex started to take it serious, and when he really wanted to continue and move forward and thrive, he was actually pretty damn good, at what he does. I don't know if people realize that, or sort of take that for granted, but he was damn good, or maybe they didn't, because he was actually damn, he was way over, and he really knew how to be a leader and take charge, in a show and get things done. I think he actually completed that show. When we did the Duke Nukem show, Duke Nukem 3E, he went all the way through and beat the game, which was very impressive. We once we finally got out of the jail place, he really started to thrive. And then we got out of jail, we broke out of there, and we were underwater. We just would fucking wake up in these damn random ass places, and I have on scuba gear, and I'm underwater, and now there's a new enemy, this fucking big ass swimming alien hurling this big fucking, I don't even know, this cosmic shit at my ass. And that shit used to take out a shitload of energy. If he got hit by two of those, you would damn near die. You get hit by three, you're finished. But two of them will knock your power down to a 3 if you have 100. So you better be at 100%. Because you could start the level off at like maybe 63% or whatever, however much energy you had in the previous level. It just continues that way. and hopefully you have some lives. And sometimes, that jail level was so fucking hard at first that we would lose all our damn lives. Um, we would lose all our damn lives just being on the jail level. So by the time we got to that one underwater level, that's the Grand Canyon level. Once you get up out of the water, once you figure that out, because you only got so much time in the scuba gear, and those swimming aliens come out of nowhere. But yeah, so we spent a long time there, and so we would have like low lives already, and already be at a different disadvantage. What you think made that level so hard? Because I remember, and I think that's either the second or third level. I remember being after the movie theater, and damn, there's something significant about that first beginning part. I can't remember the reference I had, but anyways, what was so difficult about it? Well, the first part about it is that there's all these different sort of key codes. You have to get these different keys to open up different doors. So when you don't know where these keys are, that makes it pretty difficult. And the bad part about it is you're a damn prisoner inside of this place that you've never been to before, and all these aliens, are behind all these different doors. And I think that's the same level where there's this thing that goes, "Too late, Noodle. We're in control now." And that really pissed me off. But anyways, yeah, we would continue that, and then we got to this one part. Well, once we finally, got the key card to open up the one door that we couldn't open up for a long ass time, then we get to the to this next part. And if you don't know shit about the those red beam tripwires, you'll get blown up. And Alec didn't know about them, and they were hard sometimes. Like you would have to put in these different codes to get rid of the red laser trip, or else you would blow up. And so that became a hard part. The level just continued to get harder and harder progressively as we went through it. And then you finally escape the asylum, and they have all these different machine fucking tanks or whatever just shooting at you. I don't even know what they're called. This is alien shit, so I don't know what they're calling this fucking shit. But and then along with the flying aliens, because the aliens have jetpacks. The piggy cops are strong as fuck because they got, not only are they big buff ass piggy cops, but they got fucking bulletproof vests on. So it takes about 3 shotgun shots to kill them. The guys in the jetpacks, they're fucking pussy as fuck. 1 shotgun will take them out. Which is what I like to use most of the time. I like to use the shotgun, because it's most effective. Didn't too much use the RPG. I kind of saved that and, would build up the ammo and shoot at the aliens from afar who were, those big metal fucking guns, that were automatic. Nothing was controlling them. They were just on automatic, and they already knew how to aim at you. And all these fucking bullets are, coming at you, and you just had to be quick and, hide behind stuff, bide your time, go behind stuff, and really be like a real action superhero and take these guys out. So yeah, so that was pretty tough. And then there's one last part before you can leave. Once you escape the asylum, you have to go up and there's this little place in the sort of rocks over there, where you have to use the RPG gun and blow a hole into the wall. And then you have to get some shit, and then you can escape out of there. Then you go to the water level where, the big water aliens are hurling this cosmic shit at you, and there's all these different colors. And you get out of there, and then you're up in the Grand Canyon, and that was really refreshing. Being in the Grand Canyon, in 1997, and AVW's a young kid, and learning to excuse me, But learning about the Grand Canyon in school, and just knowing about it, and it's just kind of like how kind of everything kind of coincides. And back then the music used to be playing. We used to have music playing in the background. I don't know if it was Josh and Brian still, but it was just pretty days with Lauryn Hill playing, or she's got that song, "You're just so good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. You be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much." Go ahead, Duke. I hear you. Do your thing. Yeah, so that's just the way it was. Lauryn Hill and Ghetto Superstar, and just a bunch of fun stuff on Wild 98.7 that kept the momentum going on certain TV shows. And mostly mine and your show, really. Exactly. When your show came around, then you became like y'all became the third factor, because prior to that it was it was just wrestling and Abu the Monkey. And you start to see the evolution of things, how things start to change, and the dynamic of XTV, or sides at the time, became very, very apparent. With SIDE crossing over from the toys, and then it becoming like on the video game, and they start to kind of structuralize AVW. Writing in these matches in his pad, but the TV shows wasn't so structured. Excuse me, they wasn't so structured. They was actually more kind of freehand. With Duke Nukem and our show. Our shows wasn't planned, but they was always done on the weekends. And if I'm not mistaken, they were always done on a Saturday. For some reason or another, that's just the only time our show got done. So if it wasn't you on the weekend, you and Romy Rome doing your thing on Crash Bandicoot, which was super highly successful, then it was me and Alec doing our thing, and we pretty much ran it. I mean, Spyro the Dragon was in there, but he wasn't pulling in really any real numbers, compared to the top shows, which is, like you said, the wrestling, Duke Nukem and Abu the Monkey show. That was just the hottest shit. And I don't even remember Sonic and Tails being in there too much. What? No, they was there. They was there. Yeah, they was a big deal too. And that's when Sonic and Tails. I remember that's during the time where Sonic was on this airplane level. That's when Sonic had that. It was him and that robot Sonic, that Michael Jackson Sonic. That was during that time period. If y'all can recall, it was another Sonic, and he used to be like Michael Jackson. But yeah, so Yaki was in the running. People sort of forget about that just because of how brand new. And Yaki was just the old school way. The old school kind of thing. But you was brand new, and Alec was new, and Romy was fairly new as well. You know what I'm saying? Me and Romy, that was just our second season when we did Crash. So all of that kind of came almost around the same time. You came a little bit after us, like maybe 6 months to a year later. Exactly, and it's just some of the most fun times in our lives. But I was just talking about the music, because the music is really what gave it a feel. And I really enjoyed that time, man. So how does the show continue? I mean, did you guys get stuck anymore? Maybe here and there. I mean, we went to so many different places, man. Those places, they just if you go back on YouTube and watch it, it really brings back memories. I don't know if the guys used to watch me and Alex show. I don't know how many shows they ever watched, but our show was hot, and then not only that, but Alec had my show, which was the Duke Nukem show, which was a shoot. It was like we're out here killing aliens. It's supposed to be like the real thing, and then 006 with the dogs, which was a TV show. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, but 006 with the dogs, kind of like family friendly. 006 with the dogs, and 00, it was like 006 with Duke. 006 is coming tonight, baby. He is bringing all of his heavy artillery with him tonight. It's 006, baby. 006 is coming tonight, baby. So I'm not gonna sing the whole song, but he just got a whole damn bit that he did, and he just really took it serious. But that was us saving the world, because in those days you could do that type of shit. It was like this was real life. This is like the camera is following us, and this is what we're going through. That's the premise behind Alec and myself doing 006 and Duke. So, just a little bit of history. And like I said, he held it down pretty well. I just followed him and had his back. I'd be the Hollow Duke and let him go off and fight aliens, because that's what he wanted to do. And we got to this one part where we're on this football field. Now, this may be the last level or close to the last level. We fought this giant alien. And you had asked me, if we ever got stuck again. And I remember getting stuck on this guy because he was huge. He was like when Bobby fought up against Cerberus. I think Cerberus was a 3-headed dog or something like that. Yeah, on Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, but it's like on that level, and and with Bobby's perspective, that damn thing was massive. 3 heads coming at you, and he, it took him forever to actually be able to finish off that guy. But damn it, he did it. And same thing with Alec, and people make comparisons now. Is Bobby the new Alec? I think so. Well, they certainly both have, their accolades, and all of the great legends, have that type of a background, when you look at it. I mean, both in the ring and on TV shows and, in the everyday, day-by-day life of XTV, playing a very important and special role. And I can't wait to get Alec on this show and talk about his time, because his importance in XTV is very, very interesting. It's a very interesting story. So you guys defeated all the aliens. You saved the world in Duke Nukem 3D, which was 006 and Duke. Right, and now the next thing that happens is it's time to kill, and that was brought up some years later. I think probably in the early 2000s is when XTV went that route. Tell us a little bit about that. Well, Time to Kill. Was a different look, because everybody knew how I looked. So now, this time, it's like, it's kind of like, we were talking about Super Mario doing the MZ thing, but now it's like we're taking that kind of a perspective, because you're able to look at me while I'm killing, and so, this time, I took more of the forefront since it was like that. And Alec kind of just played my role, But we didn't figure that out until later on, how to do that, because when it came to Time to Kill, we didn't like it at first. It was just like the controls weren't how, Duke Nukem 3D was, and we just didn't like the feel. It was Duke Nukem, but it just wasn't what we grew to love. So, we had a hard time dealing with that. But we had a task at hand, which was to save the world from these alien scum again. And that's what me and Alec did. We carried out our task. We did our duty, and handled what we were supposed to. And actually, it did pretty good. I'm actually kind of happy with the way things came out. But it goes to Alec again. He's just able to make something out of nothing. And something that really wasn't that good. But I think that after a while, we just started to learn the controls, and we just said fuck it, and let's go on with it. And plus we wanted to see the rest of the game, and how the game progressed. So I'm not so sure if we beat that one. Maybe we did or not, but I'm not really so sure. But I just remember that at first it wasn't really that good, but we really dug it. Let's see. And so well, that show was successful for its time, and during that time period, I think this only like a few years after the original, which was in '97, and it was a different vibe during that time period, Duke. It was like in comparison, I mean, to me, 1997 is my favorite year in XTV. It's just like that's just like the best shit. I love it. I just miss that time period. It's just so beautiful to me. That's why I like having guests like you on. If a lot of y'all notice, I have these type of guests where you can just go back and enjoy those Saturdays. And I wonder if a couple of days ago, if that's the reason why this conversation didn't really work out that well, because that was on a Thursday. But today is Saturday, and it's like I feel like it should be done this way. Exactly. It's got that feeling. Everybody's off. It's summertime, which was the predominant time that all this stuff was taken off. 006 with the dogs, school was out and kids were out and we were out, we were out to have some fun. Everybody was having a good time. Exactly. So, but what I was getting to was that, I don't really know what the West Coast was doing around this time. I think this is like early 2000, maybe into 2001, where we doing where you got Time to Kill, and me and Romy. I think now we at the third crash with Coco's with us now, and I don't think Dingo has been introduced just yet. I don't think so. He ain't come in until Crash Team Racing, which so it was like late Crash 3 and into Crash Team Racing when you was doing your thing. And so that was the different dynamic. But you see how it's still the same guys that's on top. Like we was on top like all those years, like from 97 to 2000, maintaining that credibility and staying relevant and being able to be like just those top guys with the best shows for all that time, and then switch over and cross over into different crossover shows and continue to to thrive. Yeah, it's a real special thing when you think about it. Because that's just one of those things that's just hit or miss. It's like with SIDE even, you take a look at how SIDE is the same kind of way. When it starts out as just this kid with the pillow, going all the way up to through the days of all the different toys of not even having a wrestling ring, having to create your own wrestling ring with your bed and tying a little string around it, and playing with the toys that way, to actually having your own ring, to getting a bigger ring, to taking that to the Sega Genesis, and a 2D ring, to the PlayStation in a 3D ring, and then from the 3D ring to Monday Nitro, to Thunder, to Attitude, to WCW Mayhem, Mayhem, and then just continuing throughout all the years, and still being able to like evolve the way the WWE does. Like the 1997 roster, that we're talking about is nothing like today's roster. It's like absolutely different, and that's when you know that like you have something there because you've created this legacy without even trying to. Exactly, that's a great point there. And I was even talking to Millennium about that earlier on. I was on this podcast, just that depth, creating that depth, and inadvertently, within itself, HTV has created its own history and legacy, and we can sit here and go back and talk about it, on these podcasts. That's why I really enjoy doing these and bringing them to you guys right here on XTV East Coast via YouTube. I always say XTV via YouTube. I'm supposed to say XTV East Coast via YouTube, but it's all in the same. So, moving forward, I remember in 2004, I think is when we had the Raw game. We had 1 and 2, which were both successful. I think we didn't like one and we liked the other one better, or something like that. I remember Raw 2 being like the big deal. And I remember you being on that, Duke. Yeah, me out of, I don't even know how many people. It had to be over 100 guys, or close to 100 at least. 100 different guys that were on that roster. They were just, really phenomenal performers, and had a real competitive nature. And I think that a lot of guys were made right there. Bob Classic being one of them, being able to, having that platform to be able to get off. Because, I guess on SmackDown, people did their thing. But the thing about Raw is that, being that it was a place where it was almost, I guess, an unlimited amount of space that you could create guys, then that means that here's a perfect place where new guys could break out, like NMM or Moonsault or Bobby. So for that time period, Raw was a real good thing. As far as the technical aspect, I'm not so sure about, but as far as fun gameplay and a unique look and a unique feel, and just all around place where it's like this is it, like it's Raw and SmackDown, and it just had its own special thing, and of course I was a part of it. And I can't remember what song I had. I used to come out to something by Eminem, from the Eminem LP. And I was trying to think of it. I think it was like It's Life by Marshall Mathers. What is life? I'm tired of life. But I remember B singing that too. I'm tired of backstabbing ass snakes with friendly grins. I'm tired of committing so many sins. Tired of having skinny friends hooked on crack and many things. Tired of the DJ playing your shit when he spins. Bitch. Oh, man. So I think that's the last time that we saw you, Duke, before you just disappeared into thin air, and then you was gone forever and ever and ever. And the world was anticipating Duke Nukem for a return. Everybody, because you're a popular guy, like you're a worldwide phenomenon, well known, and it was a surprise to XTV to find out that you would be making a return and that the Alex Show will be returning. This being years and years later since the what we was just talking about. Years and years and many different phases of XTV. It's like what you were saying, how it went from like the kid playing with his toys all the way to us being in the Treasure Dome, and then speaking of the Treasure Dome, that's another kind of cornerstone of that time period. You know what I'm saying? Which we speak of, but it even evolved like 10 times more after that. By the time you made your return with Duke Nukem Forever, talk about that a little bit. Well, what we had with Duke Nukem Forever was, just that magic again. And critically around the world, people weren't very happy with it. But I think that what happened with me and Alex's situation was that, it was just a conflict with schedules. I can't remember what job was being worked at that time, but, we just never had the time to do it. And then when you consider about how hot XTV was around that time, and then just that alone, mixed in with the projects, because the projects start to kind of take over, and that's what makes it less time to do other things. I'm surprised that you're ever even, able to find time to do these podcasts, with just everything that's on the plate to do. Yeah, that's a good ass point, but you guys had a great opening show. I think that might have been like y'all only show, but it felt good. It felt like old times. It was like old times, and you had a couple guys in there saying, different things, but for the most part, it was a fun experience, and for what it was, I was real happy with it. I was too. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go online and you can check out the Duke Nukem Forever movie at the Uplay Network on YouTube. If you want to see more of Duke Nukem, catch him at DukeNukemForever.com. And Duke, I've been looking forward to this for a long ass time, and I'm happy that I had you. You got any other things that you want to say? Well, I'm happy that I'm here as well. Hopefully, maybe sometime in the future, I can find myself involved in XTV and doing something. But for right now, I'm happy with where I'm at, and I just want to thank you for bringing me out here, man. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in for another week of the Justin Podcast. I'm Ernest Justin Turkey Leg saying I'll see you next week. Y'all take care.